our weekly DeAndre Hopkins sweepstakes update.
D-Hop is an elite guy.
You and I, we want to go with DeAndre Hopkins right away.
It makes sense to go get D-Hop.
We lost Juju. We lost Harvey. Those are veteran guys.
Yeah.
Bring him in. D-Hop. The Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. They trade their 4th-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Could you imagine the pandemonium going on in there?
Oh, D-Hop. That's who I would want. Shoot, I'm like, hey, D-Hop. Before you even name anybody else, D-Hop.
Now, I think as of yesterday, DeAndre Hopkins is officially a free agent, and there are some developing stories on this, but this is kind of going back to the same old Buffalo, Kansas City. So according to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs have emerged as the frontrunners in the pursuit of star wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins. Both teams are, quote, in an arms race for to secure the services of the talented receiver, DeAndre Hopkins. But the issue for both teams, as we speculated, is cap space. Buffalo has around $1.5 million in cap space. Chiefs have just under $1 million in cap space. Both are the bottom 2 in the league as far as money to pay DeAndre. But Chiefs and Buffalo, I'm sure they can play, salary cap gymnastics and get DeAndre Hopkins on board. But both teams were the only 2 teams that were really in talks with Arizona before the draft to try to get DeAndre Hopkins. And this is a report that came out from Albert Breer. This is really interesting. This broke yesterday. Chiefs were making progress with DeAndre Hopkins on a contract negotiation. But once the Ravens paid OBJ about $15 million guaranteed on that 1-year deal, that's when everything kind of imploded with Hopkins. So with this new news coming out that we were actually, around the time when we started this whole DeAndre Hopkins update, we were actually in play for DeAndre Hopkins, but Buffalo threw a little grenade in there and exploded that. Baltimore did. What do you make of this? The fact that we were the team that had actually contractual talks with him before that OBJ contract came down.
That's what we're talking about. We were saying that all season, that, the Chiefs are the one that was going to be talking to DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, without saying, was going on different shows, was the kind of giving a head nod to the Chiefs a lot, like, oh, yeah, Patrick Mahomes, or I don't want to, when he did the whole shake their head, don't say anything, that type of deal, gestures. So I think he always preferred going to Kansas City. I really do. And then, of course, this last time he got on, he was talking about Josh Allen. Oh, I love to play with a great quarterback. And so, you already know you got Stephon Diggs, you got Gabriel Davis, and he could be that guy. But I'm joking. When last time we won a Super Bowl?
Has Buffalo ever won a Super Bowl?
Okay, that's what I thought. That's why I was.
Well, I was trying to think. So obviously, the early '90s they had the 3 straight where they lost, but
right. But last time I ever checked, Josh Allen and them hadn't won a ring. Yeah. They haven't won the AFC Championship. Them suckers ain't won. They win a lot of games during the season. Okay, they do. Okay, and everybody can cry about all the other things. They, oh my gosh, things went fair and stuff like it. Got beat. No matter where it was. So, you could make these things up. You can say whatever you want to say, but this is not shocking that the Chiefs were the front runners in trying to get in DeAndre Hopkins. To me, it just made sense. It really did, especially when you lose out on Juju. Okay, and you still needed a number 1 wide receiver. And at the time, we were kind of like we were depleting receivers. We weren't. We had MVS, we had Sky Moore. We hadn't had Rashid Rice yet because obviously in the draft. So we didn't quite know we was going to get through these young guys. Okay, now we had Kadarius Toney. Okay, but there was a question. It's always a legitimate question about him being hurt sometimes, and so it's like, can he make it through the season to be a number 1? Yeah, hopefully we want him to. Shoot, we love what he can do on the field, no doubt about it, And so this is not cutting at him by saying that, but the thing is, when you start looking at his history. He has had injury. Looking at DeAndre Hopkins, to me, was the significant thing. That's what you should have done as a Chiefs. So it's not a big deal. I think it's what like I said before, we talked about this all season. So.
Yeah, the one thing, so like with the DeAndre Hopkins stuff, obviously, if we're a team that's really interested in him, and everyone's talking about us being interested in him, we're gonna forget about the contract situation, because in order for that to happen, we need to kind of create some some money out of that, and obviously that Chris Jones thing is gonna happen. The Chris Jones thing has to happen regardless of DeAndre Hopkins, so that's gonna have to happen.
So let me say this. Absolutely, the Chris Jones thing has to happen. Okay, we're looking for that to happen with Chris. We understand we need to get him a long-term deal, no doubt about it. There are still ways to make things happen, to move money around to get DeAndre Hopkins here. The whole thing with OBJ is going to the Ravens, but they not going to win a championship. They're not. He's getting the money. He's getting the bag. Okay, he just got a ring when he was in with the Rams. So to him, it was all about the money. It ain't about him chasing another ring. He already got that. So that's why he waited out. The Ravens was able to sign that check. I think DeAndre, because he doesn't have that ring, I think it's the most important thing for him to do is to get a ring right now. To be on a championship team. Going from Houston, going to the Cardinals, to him, he's like, look, I'm at the tail end of my career. This has to happen right now. What's going to give me the better shot to win a ring, and maybe even put some money in my pocket, right? And let's say he comes to Kansas City and wins a ring right now. That still puts him on the market for like another 2 or 3 years. Teams would still love to have a DeAndre Hopkins. Look, I've said this before. DeAndre Hopkins at 75% is better than a lot of teams, a lot of wide receivers, 100%. Okay? Let's just be honest here. And I'm talking about guys that's making a ton of money out here. Okay? So let's just be honest. So we could talk about the contract, which is it's a huge thing. It's the money thing is a huge deal on it. But I don't think to him that's the thing that's driving him fully in this thing right now. Okay, because we talked about Kansas City and the Bills being the two main guys talking about these guys, and we know what the cap space are. But he wants to go to a place that wants to win. He wants to be a winner. Like I said, that will cement his legacy. He's going into Canton. We know that. Him having a ring just gives him that extra oomph, right? It just puts something on him. But now I'm draped with this ring too. I can just show my ring out. I'm good. So that'd be perfect. Kansas City for the spot for him to be. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So one thing that came out, I think yesterday or today. I don't know if this is leaks happen, right? It was an unnamed, multiple unnamed NFL sources, guys in the league, have come out and said that DeAndre Hopkins is slow, can't get off anymore, and just kind of, he's not what he once was. And they're saying that there wasn't that much interest around the league outside of the two main guys, or the Bills and the Chiefs. When a report like that comes out, is that could that be one of the teams who's interested in him trying to put that out there to try to get him to bring his price down? If that's what I mean.
No. I don't. Look, we don't. Who's saying this? Is this supposed to be like organizations saying this? Is this players saying this? Who are these? See, when we have all of these anonymous sources and coming out and not putting put your name behind it. If you feel that strong about DeAndre Hopkins, put your name behind it. Matter of fact, I guarantee. Look, I'll take, like I said before, DeAndre Hopkins 75% is a lot better than a whole lot of wide receivers 100% out here. All right, I'm telling you right now. So DeAndre Hopkins, maybe not getting out the jam. If he is slow and stuff like that, he's still going to be a top 22, 25 receiver.
Yeah.
In the league. Hey, you can tell me he's not. And I tell you what, we've seen his numbers, what he got last year. Okay. In 9 games, was it Marcus? Was it 9 games? How many games did he play?
Yeah, it was not 9 games.
9 games? How many receptions he had? I had it down here.
I remember he had 750 yards receiving, which would have been second on our team.
And 79 catches, something like that. So they missed me with that one. I don't want to hear nobody say nothing like that when the guys catching 79 balls with 9.
64 for 717.
64 for how much?
717.
717 in 9 games? Come on, man. Let's for real. Cut it out.
Yeah.
When people say stuff like that, man, that's just ridiculous to me.
The quote was, NFL exec says DeAndre Hopkins doesn't have much left. He can't run anymore.
Well, he probably went in the running anyway. He's probably just saying that because DeAndre Hopkins is like, nah, I'm not coming to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't Okay, then he's go, well, what does he do? Then he go talk noise on him. It's almost like, sometimes you hear dudes or people in relationships, right? It's like when somebody gets turned down, all of a sudden they talk about the person. Oh, God, her breath stinks. So, yeah, she wasn't cute anyway to begin with. Well, what was you trying to cover her for? Why was you sitting over there trying to holler at her? Like, I seen the whole night trying to holler at her. You was buying her drinks. You was, threw your whole game out there, right?
Yeah,
Doing everything to get her.
She ain't all that.
Oh, yeah, she ain't all that. Cut you straight to the meat, and you sit over there hating on her because she didn't choose you.
I'll be honest. I've been guilty of that, JD.
Oh, wow.
I mean, she's not that hot anyway. I mean, whatever.
Oh, man. But tell me where that place came from. It came from hurt feelings, right? It was
100%.
God hurt. Yeah.
100%.
So, yeah, right. So that's what that is. Yeah, but I don't think I ever hated on like, oh man, she ain't nothing and all that. No. You got to do that, man. It's just, hey, it is what it is. You lose out, so be it, right? Hey, you know what? Tonight is not my night. Or at least I didn't get to holler at her. She didn't go for my full game. Okay, my mouth wasn't working that.
Usually that's more the defense mechanism when you're coming back to your boys after trying to at a bar or a club trying to go talk to a girl and you get denied. You come back and your tail between your legs and boy, what happened with that? It's like she had a boyfriend or something like that.
Yeah, man, she tripping. I don't know, man. I went over there, she was cross-eyed for real, so she had to float down and stuff. I don't know, Yeah, that's hating. That's hating because just wasn't with it. So maybe DeAndre Hopkins, he wasn't with it. He wasn't taking the bait with his executive who wanted him so bad. He called up his agent. His agent's like, "Nah, he's not going there. I'm sorry." So he probably those people. He probably said, "Well, look, we need $20-something million, right?" Oh no way, we're not gonna get. Well, look, then don't even expect him coming because you're not winning anyway. So. Yeah.
Another thing that was interesting. So at the same time as this whole Hopkins thing is kind of like perking up, you have this Mahomes quote about having a deep wide receiver room. So that's what I want to ask you. So we've talked about coach speak, GM speak.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, is there something to a quarterback coming out and saying, "Oh, I think we have a really deep wide receiver room"? Like when a quarterback says that, does that mean like, hey, like, look, the guys in the room I'm comfortable with it, and that's fine. Like we don't. Is it more like I don't need another receiver, or like, man? Because if I'm Hopkins and I hear Mahomes saying, "Oh, I love my wide receivers. We have one of the best in the league. That's the deepest room in the league." It's like, okay, well, you don't need me then, right? I mean, I don't know. When you hear Mahomes kind of praise wide receiver room and how deep it is, what does that tell you? And do you think that would deter Hopkins, or would that deter Mahomes from wanting Hopkins?
No, and he does. Patrick's supposed to talk about the guys that's in the room, the guys that's on the team. He didn't have DeAndre Hopkins here. He's not loyal to him in no frame and form. So he needs to talk about the guys that he's throwing the ball to. And he does have a deep room. He does, with a lot of young guys, a lot of talent. There's no doubt about it. So, no, I agree with Patrick. He does have a deep room. There's a lot of guys that can go catch the football, who can make plays, who can make guys miss. So he's been throwing these guys during all season. So he's learned a lot about the guys that's in the room. So, yeah, he's supposed to give them high praise. That's what he's supposed to do as a leader, as a quarterback of the team. He's supposed to talk about the guy that's in the organization, that's in the room, and he's throwing the ball to. So hats off to Patrick Mahomes for doing that. He's supposed to stand up for his guys. So there's nothing wrong with that. DeAndre Hopkins knows there's 32 teams out there. There's 32 teams that need him. That's how he looks at it. He's like, I get it. I get you got a deep room. You know what's going to make it even deeper? Get me out there. That's what's going to make it even better. And so he knows that at that moment, he levels up the entire team. He levels it up. He levels the entire team up. So you can't never have enough talent. You just can't. You can never have enough talent. I know we talk about ESPN, like when teams go and watch them and stuff like that. Shoot. Hey, teams are always trying to re-up. Teams are always trying to get better. We seen Philly. That's all they kept doing is re-ing up, trying to get guys there, trying to recruit. because you're trying to put yourself in the best situation to win a championship. Because these things don't happen often. It's so hard to win a Super Bowl. And so the thing is, keep giving yourself an opportunity. But look, Patrick's going to play with the guys he got in the room and he's throwing to, because those guys are very talented. Like I said before, those guys in the room are not just guys. They're not chopped liver. We got some first rounders, second rounders that are very good. We got some guys that was, top first round picks that are very good. And so he's right. He's right, 100%.
Yeah, and I think it's in a similar light. It's the way we talk about it. Like, we love DeAndre Hopkins, but we'd be okay if he didn't sign here. We love him, but right. we like the guys we have in the room already. It would just give us that another piece, another weapon to play with.
Another piece, another excitement, that another toy, for Patrick Mahomes and for Andy Reid. So that would be phenomenal to have him here. But if we don't have him, then, hey, man, the best of luck, okay?
As a player playing in the league as long as you did, and we've talked about before, like, last year with the edge rushers, how, you were like, just wait till about training camp. That's when you might see one of these guys sign. Now that he's a free agent, and I guess, and this is something too, that was an edge rusher, right? They have one job, really. I mean, obviously there's different defenses and schemes, but you kind of have one job. It's go get the quarterback. Receiver, how long could you see Hopkins dragging this recruitment out? And as a receiver, as a skill player, learning an offense like the one we have in Kansas City, how long should he hold this thing out and kind of and wait on this?
I don't know. I don't think it's really too much of a time frame there. I think if you get him signed before training camp starts is more ideal. What you want to be able to do, but it's not going to be a problem for him to come in and learn the system at all. And so DeAndre Hopkins has been playing for a long time. Once you get the terminology down, you're just going to let him go out there and play ball. And I think, in this matter of fact, his athletic ability suits him. This offense suits what he could do really well. And so I think that's one of the great things about it is, Patrick can throw the ball up to him. He can. He can go up there and go get it. He can go up there and catch it between 2 or 3 different guys. I mean, I'm talking about, we see it, just snatching the ball out of the air. He can do some things athletically really, really well. Just superb, than most guys in the league. So that's not going to be an issue and a problem, because you do have a lot of the freedoms, to run routes and get open. So I think that would not be a problem. You got to get a guy like that here before training camp, just so we can get used to everybody. That's it, and the timing. So,
whether it's the Chiefs or not, how long do you see this whole recruitment of DeAndre Hopkins lasting?
We talked about we get into June, and so now, yeah, I mean, shoot, it could be 3 weeks, a month. Maybe he's getting there. Just to get all the bells and whistles. Like, you just got to get like acclimated to like where you're going in the building, the whole staff, administration, like all those different things. And so that had probably happened, sometime this month. And so, he living arrangements, all those different things had to go into. I'm thinking with the next few weeks, because from now you probably still have like another mini camp. I haven't looked at the Chiefs schedule. Mini camps as far as like before training camp, at least, right?
Yeah. Chiefs mini camp schedule. Let me look here. So we have
OTAs, mini camp.
Yeah, so we got offseason.
I know you got at least one toward the end of June, like mid-June, 19th and 20th, I think, right?
Yeah, so we got the 30th of June 1st, then we have June 6th to June 9th. And you have mandatory mini camp will be held from June 13th to June 15th. So that's next 2 weeks then.
Yeah. So, a guy like that, DeAndre Hopkins, look, he's in shape. You don't have to worry about him being in shape. He's a professional. I don't think you have to worry about any of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So you say probably that within 2 to 4 weeks is when this will be hammered away?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we'll see. And there's probably going to be more, and there will probably be more updates by the time we meet again next week on this whole thing. more reports. Because I thought that was crazy when I read. I didn't think it was crazy because you and I obviously talked about it ad nauseum. But the fact that we literally had, because we even texted about this, we had a deal done with him, pretty much worked on, and then OBJ. When you and I talked about the OBJ kind of throwing that grenade in the plans, and it threw a wrench and everything. Because he got his money from Baltimore. I mean, he got paid big time.
Yeah. Yeah, man. He lucked out. Somebody signed him for that. Ravens got him. So I think a lot of it had to do with Lamar too. Like that was a thing, and they knew Lamar before he would have signed. Like I got to get somebody else here.
Yeah.
Like seriously, I know what y'all trying to throw to me. I know what y'all trying to do, but I need some other guys to throw to besides Andrew.
Yeah, so, and Bateman. Yeah.
Bateman. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and the funny thing is, had they waited to do this, I mean, obviously they want to get this whole Lamar thing done, but if Hopkins was a free agent at that point, they would have gone Hopkins probably instead of OBJ, I think, just based on a guy who's been playing, like.
Yeah. That'd have been a good city for him.
Yeah. Yeah, but now they say it's Buffalo and Kansas City. People are just trying to throw other teams in there, Detroit, Cleveland, or other teams, the Watson connection in Cleveland. And I think tomorrow with the June 1st cuts, Cleveland's going to actually have a lot of money, so we may start to hear a little Cleveland rumors up a little bit.
Well, it'll be a reunion, but them jokers ain't nowhere near winning the championship. They just not. But hey, shoot, him and Amari.
That'd be kind of nasty. And Donovan Peoples-Jones too.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They'd have a good. That's also another thing too. It's like there's all the other teams have solidified wide receiver ones, and I know everyone's saying Tony's can be that for us, but like injury is a concern. But Hopkins comes to Kansas City, he would be instantly the wide receiver one. There would be no other like timeshare. Obviously, Kelce is the real one, but like wide receiver one, he would be it, bar none.
Yeah, sure. I tell you what, man, Pat can make anybody number one.
That's true.
The ball everywhere, and everybody keep talking. We talk about this. We know Travis is the number one receiver here in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's the one who's going to catch the most balls. But yeah, definitely. If DeAndre came here, it would be a clear number one. Number one.
Yeah. So we'll keep our tabs on that as we head to next week. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.